Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano, and today's Monday. I've got another whiskey review coming at you. Today, we've got an Irish single malt whiskey. It's been a while since I've done an Irish single malt. So, just like always, let's pour it, nose it, taste it, talk about it a little bit, add some water to it, and then if you stick around until the very end, I'm going to give this a score. Now, this one is a little bit of an interesting one, and I'll get to it here in a little bit when I talk about it. But let's go ahead and get the stats out of the way. It's a 16-year-old single malt Irish whiskey coming in at 43% ABV. As far as chill filtration or coloring, they probably have coloring and it's probably chill filtered, especially being at 43%, but I'm not exactly positive. If you know any different, let me know in the comments down below. Now, as far as the maturation, 14 years in bourbon barrels and then an extra 21 months in Oloroso sherry casks. It is triple distilled, and on the label, it says that it is distilled, matured, and bottled in Ireland, but it's not from their distillery. In fact, I don't even think they have a distillery. So it is a product of Ireland, because based on what I looked at, it looks like they're sourcing their whiskey from the finest barrels in Ireland. This is a 750 milliliter bottle. In Arizona, I paid $97.97. Sorry, $97.99. Obviously, your area is going to differ. I'm always curious on the prices in different areas. So if you have access to the 16-year-old, what are you paying for it in your market? All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the nose. Smells very sweet just from pouring it. That sherry is definitely coming through even before I get it up to my nose. And sure enough, it has a lighter raisin, plum, fig, and cherry note. And there's also a really good amount of apple juice coming through. Sometimes in Irish whiskey, I do get a green apple Jolly Rancher note, but this is not that. This smells like straight apple juice coming right out of the container. A little bit of vanilla, and I get a slight amount of pepper note in there. So I would definitely say this is on the sweeter side rather than a spicy side. All right, let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Yep, I think just as expected, the apple notes coming through, the spice is there a little bit, pepper and ginger, good amounts of vanilla, good amounts of malt, no rough edges, very easy to drink. And even though that was the first sip, I would say that apple note is definitely sticking around, so I would put this or peg this right now at a medium finish. And based on the notes that I'm getting on that first sip, I would say the bourbon barrel is a little bit more dominant than the sherry cask or the Oloroso sherry cask. I am getting some ripe red fruits, but I wouldn't say that they are very rich. It's not like a dark raisin. It's not really dark fruits. You don't have that savory note that you usually get in some matured whiskeys that are Oloroso exclusive or PX exclusive. The malt and the vanilla and that apple are more forward than the raisin, date, fig, and plum note. It's there, but it's very subtle. And that was the first sip, so let's go ahead and get that second sip in, concentrate a little bit more on some of the notes, add water to it, and then move on. Cheers, everyone. All right, on that second sip, as I was inhaling before I took this sip, I got a little bit of a tobacco note, a slight chocolate note, like a cacao or a chocolate powder like you would put into a chocolate milk. And then as soon as it hits the tongue, that arrival is nothing but apple sweetness. Slight amount of tannin, not a lot on the side of the tongue. That apple note stays consistent all the way through. I'm hit with vanilla, a very slight amount of spice on the back and the side of the tongue. And as far as the finish goes, I'm sticking at medium. All right, let's go ahead and add a drop or two of water. Not a whole lot here. Being 43% ABV, I don't think this will take that much of it. I think too much water will probably change the profile a little bit too much. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of history behind Knappogue Castle. In 1966, Mark Edwin Andrews and his wife purchased the Knappogue Castle in Ireland. Mark Andrews was actually a former assistant secretary to the US Navy. So he's not an Irishman at all, but they decided to buy this castle. And around the same time they purchased the castle, he started buying premier casks or premium casks of Irish whiskey and storing it at the castle. And I say that with a question mark because I'm not exactly positive if he had another storage site or if there was enough room in the castle to actually store it there. And eventually he started bottling and selling the whiskey. And I'm not sure of the dates here, but eventually Mark Andrews passed the business on to his son, Mark Andrews III. And here is where I'm going to need a little bit of help. The information is very sketchy and I'm not positive on what's going on. But somewhere along the lines, Castle Brands entered the picture for distribution of the whiskey. In 1996, the Andrews family sold the castle, and in 2023, the ownership of the castle was transferred to Clare County Council. Now, in that time between 1996 until 2023, I think somewhere along the way, something had to have happened to the brand, because I don't think whiskey is actually stored in the castle, but I'm not exactly positive. I do know Mark Andrews III ended up producing his own brand to get this actually out to the public. And at some point, his company was purchased by Irish Distillers, and Irish Distillers is a subsidiary of Pernod Ricard, which leaves us to the modern day distribution of these various expressions. They have a 12, they have a 14, and they have a 16, along with special releases. And I'm not sure exactly where all this is happening from. So a little bit of a mystery. If you know, let me know in the comments down below and share that with everyone else so we can become a little bit more informed. On the back of the label, it still says product of Ireland, and it's imported by Castle Brands. So I don't know how this whole Pernod Ricard, Irish Distillers, and whether or not the Andrews family is even still involved in the business somehow, some way. All right, now that the water has done its thing, let's go ahead and get this on the nose, a sip, and then give it a score. All right, just like always, anytime I add water, there's a little bit more spice that comes out. The vanilla note's still there. The apple note is definitely still there. It smells pretty buttery, pretty biscuity. I'm not getting those chocolate notes that I got on that second sip, but it still smells pretty pleasant. So let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Apple and spice all day long, vanilla, malt, and then in the very background is a slight amount of sherry. Like I said, on my first sip, it's a pleasant, easy sipper. If somebody is looking to get into the Irish single malt and they don't want to be blasted with a whole bunch of ABV, I think this might be a start. And a little bit less than $100. There might be some other options out there. Redbreast 12, just the normal Redbreast 12 release, is always a good one to go to, even though that is a single pot still and not a single malt. I might push them towards a Bushmills of some sort. And then if you can also get your hands on a Dingle, I think Dingle does some pretty good stuff as well with their single malts. All right, now as far as a score goes, I rate everything out of 5 stars. It's been a while since I have done an Irish single malt, so thinking about the price, thinking about the ABV, it is a pretty soft sipper and it stays consistent from the arrival to the mid palate to the finish. There is a little bit of complexity, but not that much. So based on all of that, I'm going to give this a 3.5. I think it's a pretty solid single malt, right down the middle of home plate. No surprises, easy sipper, average score 3.5. What do you think of Knappogue Castle? Let me know in the comments down below if you have any other information about it. Do you like it? Do you not? Is it readily available in your area? And how much are you paying for it? Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. And just a reminder, I do have a September giveaway happening. All of the rules to that giveaway are in the description below. All right, wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it. And until the next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.